It's Saturday evening, and your phone lights up beside a half-finished cup of coffee. Someone asks what you're doing tonight, and you look around the quiet room, the chair nobody argues over, the television turned low, the keys exactly where you left them before typing the answer you've learned not to explain. You delete the long reply and send 2 words. Staying home. People hear that and assume you've given up. They picture loneliness, failed relationships, or a man who became too stubborn to share his life with anyone, because an older man alone is easier to pity than he is to understand. You're not hiding from life. You're protecting the first life that finally feels like yours. Go back to a kitchen in the late 70s or early 80s, a metal lunchbox on the counter, a father already at work, a mother doing 3 things at once, and a boy being told he was old enough to handle himself before he felt old enough to admit he was scared. You came home to an empty house, let yourself in with a key tied to a shoelace, heated whatever was left in the fridge, and learned not to call an adult unless the problem involved blood, fire, or something you absolutely couldn't hide. There was no message thread quietly confirming that somebody knew where you were. The lesson wasn't that you were fearless. It was that needing comfort created more trouble than solving the problem quietly on your own. So you lowered your voice when you were worried, kept your face still when plans fell apart, and turned panic into movement. Check the lock, fix the hinge, find the money, make the call, clean the mess before anyone walked through the door and asked why you hadn't handled it. That old training still shapes what peace feels like now. When someone says you're so independent, you hear the compliment, but you also hear the hidden permission. Good. Then we don't have to notice when you're exhausted, ask what you need, remain beside you when things go wrong, or stay long enough to help you carry anything. And when they say, you're hard to read, what they often mean is that you stopped handing over every thought for inspection. You learned that some people ask for honesty only when the answer stays tidy, won't inconvenience them, challenge them, or require a change in how they treat you. You like being alone can also mean, your silence makes us uncomfortable. By now, you hear the request underneath the sentence. Age makes the pattern harder to miss because you've watched the same exchange happen in different houses, jobs, friendships, and relationships, often after giving someone another chance. The names change, the furniture changes, but the role stays familiar. You remain steady, useful, undemanding, and available until the moment you ask for the same care in return. And that's when living alone starts to look less like an accident and more like a decision you kept postponing. But here's the part that belongs to you. You helped people believe you needed less than you did, not because you wanted to be ignored, but because competence became your safest language. And every time you solved the problem without showing the cost or naming what it took from you, you taught the room to expect the solution without looking at the man providing it. You said, "I'm fine," while washing the dishes after an argument. You changed the subject when someone asked whether you were lonely. You fixed the car, paid the bill, drove everyone home, and then sat in the driveway for 10 quiet minutes because it was the only place nobody needed an answer from you. Other people benefited from your silence, and you used that silence to protect yourself from questions you didn't trust them to hold. Both truths can exist without turning you into a victim or making every disappointment your fault. Did you choose solitude? Or did repeated disappointment choose it for you? Probably both. What you feel now isn't always sadness, and it isn't the bitterness people expect. More often, it's relief. The quiet shock of realizing that a room can stay peaceful for an entire evening when nobody is testing your patience, rewriting your intentions, or treating your calm as an unlimited public resource. Relief sounds like making dinner without negotiating every choice. It feels like leaving a message unanswered until morning, sleeping across the whole bed, hearing your own thoughts without defending them, spending Sunday fixing one small thing because you want to, and discovering that silence is different when it isn't punishment, withdrawal, or the tense pause before another demand. You haven't stopped caring. You still help, still show up, and still love people deeply. But you no longer confuse love with permanent access. And you've stopped paying for connection with your privacy, your routine, your sleep, your ability to breathe inside your own home, and the part of you that always had to remain ready for someone else's emergency. Your front door is no longer an apology. It's a filter. You didn't become unreachable. You became careful about who gets a key. So now you're back beside that half-finished coffee, looking at the message on your phone and the quiet room around you. The keys are still where you left them. The TV is still low, and nobody is asking you to turn your peace into evidence that you're doing life correctly. The other person sees staying home and has to decide whether to respect the answer or turn it into a problem. You set the phone face down, and for once, you don't rush to rescue them from the discomfort of not being given a longer explanation. Are you living alone because no one stayed? Or because you finally stopped letting everyone in?